I'm going to be honest, and this is going to sound stupid and a bit ignorant actually, but I didn't even know what copywriting was until I started doing this stuff. I just thought it was just writing a post. I didn't even understand the kind of term copywriting. I thought copyright was like like when you copy someone's product or something and you get it. Like I don't know.
Like the
Yeah.
legal side, that is like copyright. Yeah, that's copyright as well. Yeah, when I first explained that, when I first said that to, I think my father-in-law, he had the same thing. He was like, "What? So you're doing like something to do with like people's rights or like product rights and stuff like that?" No, no, no. But I'll be honest, I didn't know what copyright was that long ago. Like, I just, so I followed a guy who some people might know, like Mike Samuels, who used to be a fitness coach himself. Um, and didn't really know him like but then he transitioned over to copywriting and I just started following his stuff. He started talking about it a bit more, started getting in his emails, and I thought he started talking about, and this is where it came from, like he started talking about like the lifestyle that I wanted, where it was like really low key, like not feeling restricted to like, okay, I've got to have meetings at this time, like I can, the idea of like, oh, I can get up at like 5 o'clock and do a few hours work and then maybe do a few in the evening, like, and sort of have the days to myself. That sort of thing like really resonated with me. And that's when I actually, similar to you, I was like terrified because I'd already paid for like OFB, and I'd already put money into like being a coach, and I was terrified of the idea of like paying for another course, like it wasn't going to pay off, and I wasn't earning that much money from coaching. And I refused. I made a thing where I refused. I was earning some money from coaching, but I refused to spend the money that I earned from my corporate job on my business. Like that was that wasn't my money. That was mine and my fiance's money. That was our money, right? So that was something I was very uncomfortable doing. So I had I had about a thousand left of my coaching money in my set in my business account, and that's when I just put it all into I put it all into or I put most of it into this copywriting thing, and then that's when I really learned actually what it was. I didn't really have much of a clue. I was just bought into the lifestyle. Um, but yeah, so that was interesting. Second to that, bit of a tangent. I also at the same time or shortly after invested in a quick something that Dan and Stu put on as part of like OFB, like I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a 1300 pound like 12-week thing, and I joined it. I was like, this is going to be my last chance at like being a coach. I'm going to give everything to this. I got 4 weeks in. I remember messaging and being like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, I'm not going to be involved in this anymore. Like, you can keep my money, but that's it. That was like, I think I even had a call with Stu and I said to him, I was like, this is my last chat. This is my last thing. Like, I'm doing this. If this doesn't pay off, I'm quitting. And
Yeah.
that's literally what I did. That was in like November time. And by the end of December, I made a pact of like, I'm not doing any more coaching. And I basically told all my clients, yeah, I'm stopping. Here's a coach that you should go to if you want to continue working with me, but you're not being coached by me anymore.
Yeah.
But going back to the sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but
No,
going back
that's
into
interesting.
copywriting,
That's interesting.
I didn't have a clue about it myself. Like same as most coaches, I was just like, oh, we'll just put out content, right? And I give value, and eventually people will reach out to me. That's the gist. That's what everyone was telling me to do,
Yeah.
and that's sort of what most people seem to be doing to find success.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that really sort of, I remember one thing you said to me at the last Strong Collective event, who we both do some work for, was the volume of stuff that you have to actually do. Because I think as a coach, like voluntarily or involuntarily, you do become a content marketer, like by default, like, and you do end up doing a lot more of that stuff than what probably you would anticipate. So it's like, oh, it's not just coaching. People aren't just going to come to me because I'm a coach. And it's the same in anything, right? It's like, oh, I'm a psychologist. People need psychology, so they're just going to come to me. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You've actually got to like
Hmm.
solve some problem with some value. Most people consume social media content, so got to put some of that out. And then you hear this stuff. It's like, I've got to put 2 posts a day out. I've got to put 5 posts a day out. Like Gary V, like the cyberkinetic world of Gary V. Yeah, just put 9 pieces of content out every day. It's like, come on, come on.
I watched I still do I watched a video of Gary Vee a few weeks back, and he talked about how everyone should be putting out up to 4 pieces of content on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, uh, tweeting 20 times a day. Um, that's not even including things like LinkedIn and stuff like this.
God.
I'm like, it's like, if you want to be in business in the future, this is what you need to be doing. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I get it, right? I completely, like, if I could, I would, like, it sounds, well, of course I could, but like if I had the means, like, I completely understand why he would say that. I think it's like, I don't disagree with what he's saying. I just think it's not easy for someone who is like, from like, I'll use my own positioning. Like, I'm all of my work, all of my days are taken up by actually fulfilling client work who have paid me for stuff.
Hmm.
So if I'm also expected to then put out 4 pieces of content and tweet 20 times a day, like that, it's sort of, there's a bit of balance there that I personally struggle with in that sense, and it just doesn't seem to make too much sense
Yeah,
in that regards. If I had no clients and I had the same amount of time, 100%.
as
But
someone who embraces content marketing and puts I'm quite prolific with content. There's a bit of a cognitive dissonance there for me in the sense that I've tried to put 4 pieces of content out every day, and it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard to put one out a day, especially when you're not a multimillionaire. You're not. You haven't got a team of 20 video editors and 20 graphic designers constantly pumping out your stuff. You haven't got a videographer following you around 24 hours a day. So when someone like Gary Vee's saying that, there's this disconnect for me where, I understand the message. Like, I'm like you, I understand the message and I understand what he's saying. And what he's saying is probably right. You probably should, if you want to get big and be successful, you probably should put 4 pieces of content out a day. But try doing that with a 2-year-old running around, nipping at your heels and, shouting down your Zoom calls when you're trying to speak to clients. It's hard. It's very, very hard. And like, I'm in the same boat as you now, where I've got quite a bit of work on, and my client fulfillment, my service fulfillment is time consuming. To a point where I'm actually going to have to probably raise my prices because I can't take more clients on. So to add that more work into your day, it's like, one, do you want it? Do you want to do that? Two, is it necessary to do that? And three, is it will people even see the stuff anyway? You know what social media is like. If you did put 4 out, what are people going to actually see of it? So who knows? Who knows? But very interesting topic that, because it's one of Hormozy, I watched a Hormozy video and he was talking about outreach. He's like, if you want to outreach, 10x it. And I was like, well,
oh yeah,
I've set myself a target to do 100 outreach a week. I set myself a target to do 100 outreach every week, and it's 10x it, 1,000 outreach a week. And what?
yeah. I much buy into Hormozy's, and maybe that's because I'm a bit of a on his consuming everything that he puts out at the moment. But I'm very much on, I understand his concept a lot more, in the sense of I think he says do so much that it would be unreasonable for you to be successful, which sort of, that makes sense, right? If you did put out 1,000 in theory, it would be almost impossible for you to not get the clients that you need.
Exactly.
And I'm the same. My entire business right now, or my plan to grow my own business, is purely through outreach at the moment. But I'm taking a very, there is no way I'm going to be doing 100 or 1,000 every month, because I'm taking a very targeted and personal approach. But even then, if I want to do one a day, even one a day is still a lot of effort for me, that I'm doing. So it's 10x that, 10 a day, that's more time than I would expect. That's, even if I dedicated an afternoon every single day, that would still not be enough. So it's I think there needs to be I understand the sense of there's a certain amount that you have to do, that's required to do. It's not always easy to hear when you don't have the time.
Yeah.
I guess is the thing, and maybe that's just a price that I'll have to pay, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I just have to pay for slower progress over time, but that's something I'm willing to do.
100%. It's someone used to say to me, it's like talking to the girl in the bar. If you're in a bar and you see a girl who you fancy and you want to go and speak to her, but you're a bit nervous about going to speak to her, that's like doing an outreach. The reward would be massive for you if you won the prize, but not doing it is it's the safe option, and it's the you're not going to get rejected. You're not going to get told to fuck off, but you're not going to get the work.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
so
And
it is a necessary thing.
and I get like, and I could do a ton of outreach. Like I can literally find the email addresses of people and send, copy and paste the same email to them, and maybe I'd get some people. But like equally, well, one, how many people am I going to have to reach out to in order to do that to get one per with a copy and pasted template?
Yeah.
The second is like of the people who don't respond, I'm almost like immediately going to be put on their like blacklist of
Mm.
like people to avoid, which I don't really like the idea of, especially if I really like the idea of working with a company. And then two, the approach I take, um, even if they don't want to work with me right now, I'm planting the seed of like the future of working together. So it's almost like, yeah, it might not pay off now, but in 6 months' time, it very well could.
Yeah.
Um, and that you can't do that with a volume game. I really don't think you can. I mean,
No.
you can, but you just need you need more time. Like, that's the only way to go
Yeah.
about it. I don't know what your approach is, well, how you're doing outreach, but that's sort of
Well,
the mindset that I'm taking.
yeah. So just to give you a bit of context on this, I'm kind of the same. So I will email specific companies I want to work with directly. Um, so I do a little bit of networking. I don't do like the typical referral networking and all that. I don't do any of that, but I do networking online. So I get to know people that way. Then I will email them directly, start building a relationship that way, and then go from there. And via socials as well. The only one
Mm,
that I automate is LinkedIn outreach, but it's not salesy. So I do automate LinkedIn through a software called Meet Alfred. So basically, what it does is you can set up an automation, so it will scan a search result that you've put in for a specific person, or specific, say it's like a marketing manager or like whatever it is, and then it will scan LinkedIn for these people. It will, if they think that's a good fit for you, it will send a request. If they accept the request, it will send just like a generic, like it's not generic because I've wrote it, but it's like, hey, happy to connect, or happy to, be in your network, whatever it is. If you want any free help or free advice, just drop me a message. Happy to help, and then it'll follow up
mm,
from there. That's actually sending out about 500 a week, I think. But I mean, of that, you might get 100, if you're lucky. So it's not like I'm hoping for anything off that. It just saves me a ton of time. But the more specific stuff I
mm.
want to work with, yeah, exactly like you, just email them directly. But interesting what you say about Hormozy, because I'm the same. I'm in a bit of a Hormozy rabbit hole at the moment. Because there's this thing called self-image identification, and Hormozy's brilliant at this. So the way he looks, so self-image identification is when you see yourself in someone else. So you see he's jacked, he's in the gym, he makes a lot of money. But I want to make a lot of money. He speaks complex topics in a simple way. That's what I'm trying to do in my content. So the stuff that he's doing, I see in myself. So it kind of draws me to him. I actually read his book as well, and the complex stuff in that book when it comes to like offers and breakdown and marketing, it's like, yeah, that's like a simple thing to do. It's like he makes them complex things look really easy. So it's interesting.